Good morning, my brothers and sisters. We are on episode 203 of 7 Minutes of Biblical Wonder. Thank you for being with me today, and we are smack dab in the middle of a very exciting story in 1 Chronicles chapter 21, which is going to reflect on our main verse, which is way back in John chapter 7. We find ourselves in Jerusalem in about 1000 BC, where David sins and the Lord sends a pestilence, this angel of destruction. He's already killed 70,000 men of Israel because of David's sin. So God feels pretty bad about this. The angel is at Jerusalem, at the doors of Jerusalem. It's actually on Mount Moriah. We'll find that out in a little bit. And the angel is going to Jerusalem to destroy it. And what does the Lord find there is he finds men of elders clothed in sackcloth on their faces, confronting in the presence of this angels, because David can see the angel. So this is from 1 Chronicles chapter 21, verse 16. And David lifted his eyes. Why did he have to lift them? Because he was on his face. And saw the angel of the Lord standing between earth and heaven, which I guess is where angels stand, and in his hand a drawn sword stretched out where? Over Jerusalem, over him, over Ornan the Jebusite, over the rest of the citizens of Jerusalem. And David is there. He's got his I'm sorry clothes on. He's got his I'm sorry people together with him. And then David speaks out and says to God, here's David's prayer. Was it not I who gave the command to number the people? Is it not I who have sinned and done this great evil? But these sheep, the citizens he's talking about, what have they done? Please let your hand, O Lord, be against me and against my father's house. Do not let this plague be on your people. Verse 18, now the angel of the Lord had commanded Gad to say to David that David should go up and raise an altar to the Lord on the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. So let's pay attention. Ornan the Jebusite. Why this place? Who is this guy? Why this altar there? So David went up at Gad's word, which he had spoken in the name of the Lord. Now Ornan was threshing wheat. So it's a high ground, has some wind. That's where you can thresh wheat. And he turned and saw the angel and his 4 sons who were with him, and they hid themselves. No kidding. So Ornan is up there threshing wheat. He's got 4 sons. The angel of the Lord comes with this big sword. At least David can see it. Ornan can see it too. I'm not sure if his sons can see it. He sees the sword stretched out over Jerusalem, i.e. stretched out over himself and his 4 sons. Then he sees David coming up the hill, and as David came to Ornan, Ornan looked and saw David and went out from the threshing floor and paid homage to David with his face to the ground. So Ornan, with an angel standing over his head, gives homage to David. That's interesting. And David says to Ornan, give me the site of the threshing floor that I may build an altar on it to the Lord. Give it to me at its full price. I want to pay for it, that the plague may be averted from the people. And Ornan said to David, take it. Of course, there's an angel over his head that's going to got this big sword out. Take it, whatever it takes. Let my lord and king do what seems good to him. See, I give it. I give the oxen for burnt offerings and the threshing sledges for the wood and the wheat for the grain offering. I give it all. But King David says to Ornan, no, but I will buy them for full price. This is another great line. I will not take for the Lord what is yours, nor offer burnt offerings that cost me nothing. So David pays Ornan 600 shekels of gold by weight for the site, and David built there an altar to the Lord. David built there an altar to the Lord. Pay attention. So we're back to the specialness of place, which is what this lesson is all about. And David built there an altar to the Lord and presented burnt offerings and peace offerings and called on the Lord. So let's pause right here. So David is in trouble with the Lord. He is commanded to build an altar in this particular place. And again, we'll come back to why this place is so particular and so special. And David calls on the Lord, and we don't know what's going to happen here. So will this work? Will the sacrifice work? Will the offerings work? Will the atonement, that the substitutionary atonement of these dead oxen, burnt offerings, will this work for David's sin? So we don't know, and here's the answer. And the Lord answered him with fire from heaven. So we find that the Lord is pleased. We find that the Lord makes this approval. We find that that the sin of David is going to be atoned here by this sacrifice in this altar, in this place. And then the Lord commanded the angel, and he put his sword back into his sheath. So we find the staying of the Lord's wrath here. And at that time, when David saw that the Lord answered him, so David notices that, hey, this worked as per the Lord's command. When David saw that the Lord had answered him at the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite, he sacrificed there. So he makes a second sacrifice. For the tabernacle of the Lord was actually someplace else. He's going to tell where the tabernacle is. So the tabernacle of the Lord, which Moses had made in the wilderness, and the altar of burnt offering were at that time in the high place at Gibeon. But David could not go before to inquire of the Lord, for he was afraid of the sword of the angel of the Lord. So we find here a transfer of the authorized place of the Lord's presence on earth. Let me say that again. We find here a transfer of the authorized place of sacrifice from where the tabernacle is, which is in Gibeon. It's been in a variety of places. And now we find that David sees that the Lord wants sacrifice and wants essentially a temple built in this particular place. He wants sacrifices done in this particular place, which turns out to be the same place where Abraham sacrificed Isaac. So again, this place on Mount Moriah, I'll tie this up all tomorrow, on Moriah is the place where Jesus is going to be sacrificed eventually, where Isaac was not sacrificed in the non-sacrifice back in Genesis chapter 22. And we find here that the Lord is pleased with the sacrifice that David gives in this particular place. So this place, again, was precious to God, and we're emphasizing how precious this place is to God before the temple was built there. It's not the temple that makes the place precious. The place was precious, and the temple was built. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for listening.